Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Wealth Coffee Chat. Hey, morning, Joel, Kevin, a few of the Facebook users. Hey, let us know in the chat if the notification popped up this morning, team. I think I might have a bit of a problem, a challenge with my notifications going out automatically. Anyway, things change, don't they? It's quite annoying. Quite annoying. Anyway, looks like two of my channels just dropped off as well. Anyway, technology. When you think you got it dialed, it surprises you. Good morning, Luke. Hey, folks. Good to see all of you guys here this morning. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Popped up for Facebook clients. I'm mentoring clients only. Yes, in YouTube. Okay. Thanks, team. Morning, Alison. All right. Well, I'm trying to work out the notifications, folks, but yeah, sorry, I can't control old Facebook and the others, but hopefully you guys can work it out at your end. If one of those pops up in YouTube and it pops up in my account, my personal account, and it pops up in the inside the mentoring program. Anyway, there you go. All right, well, let's get on with it this morning. Good to see all of you guys here. Thanks for joining me. Kevin, all the way from Lake Linden, Florida, is always here, mate. Good evening to you. Fantastic to have you and the rest of you guys. Joel, Luke, Alison, Bryce, Brendan, thanks for joining us, team. Wealth Coffee Chats. Do the quick intros while things are just getting a bit warmed up. Jason Winton's my name. You guys know that. You guys know that. But if you're new and you don't know, give us a shout out. We've had a few newbies pop by in the last little while. Fantastic to have you on. And if that's you, if you're new, then welcome. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoy our morning Wealth Coffee Chat. What we do. Why are we doing this? Well, during COVID it started, but we're continuing. Opportunity connect and just make sense of what's going on. A lot of noise out there in the marketplace, isn't there? All about interest rate rises and stuff like that. Well, that's just a very normal part of the property investment cycle. It's nothing to be concerned about. You need to have a plan. You need to know your numbers. That's important. That's whether the good times or the momentum times or the slower times are around. You need to know your numbers. You need to know what's going on. But listen, folks, listen. Don't over-dramatize this stuff, all right? Because you get stuck in fear. You don't do anything. And today I want to talk about that, okay? I want to talk about that and what that might mean to you and me as property investors. And, you know, some of the things we've got to keep an eye on, folks, because I made this coffee chat, or the headline of this coffee chat is Equity Unlock your equity, or is it a wealth trap? What's going on for you? And, you know, what's going on for you? Are you on top of this thing? And do you really understand what's going on in the marketplace? Let's talk about that today as our Wealth Coffee Chat this morning. So, big shout out and welcome. Let's get into the show, or what I've prepared. Here's some stuff I've prepared a bit earlier today. Listen, right now, for most people, how are they feeling? Tell me in the chat right now. And how are you feeling? How are you feeling after the last couple of years, maybe 2.5 years of, you know, capital growth? How are you feeling? Are you feeling a bit like, yeah, let's go, baby? That's what I'm talking about. Tell me right now in the chat. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty pumped and positive, personally. My portfolio has gone up pretty significantly, and I'm pretty happy. How do you feel? Tell me in the chat. One word. You can use multiple words if you want to. If you own some real estate over the last couple of years, how is your equity? How does it sit? What's going on? How are you looking right now? You know, how's things for you? Well, for most people, for most Aussies right now, the statistics are showing us, well, most Aussies are pretty happy. Check this out. This was the start of, the pandemic, 2020, around there, in 2020. and check out the direction of most Australians' wealth. Okay, so, dwelling wealth, pumped and still keen, boom, yes, right? Dwelling wealth has been pretty good for most people. You check out this stuff here, and I'll zoom in. This is kind of an overall thing. Now, this is not specifically, for every single person on the planet. However, this is the average in Australia, and Australia's done pretty well. I'm just going to plug in my iPad because I want it to go flat. So, we've done pretty well, folks. We should be pretty happy about where we're sitting as a crew because our liabilities, if you look down here, our liabilities actually haven't gone up that much in retrospect. Yep, Alison, asset rich, serviceability tight. And that's what I want to talk about today, folks. That's what I want to talk about. Our financial assets have grown, our dwelling assets have grown, our net wealth has grown, but our liabilities, there's no line of liabilities going like that, is there? Listen, we're actually in pretty good shape. Like, let's face it, okay? Let's face it. Now, the media would have you believe that the end of the world is nigh, right? Interest rates are rising. Everyone's going to default on their loans. What a crock of shit! Absolute rubbish. Good, Sanjeev. I'm glad you're feeling pumped. Now, for most of us, we have this conundrum right now, and Alison's already leading to my conversation today. All right. It's what do we do about that? Check out the amount of wealth that has been added to the real estate market, okay, or the market in general. So if we go back here to sort of 2020, which is kind of about there, right? So we're talking, maybe that was just a smidge over 10 trillion, so call that $11 trillion. $3.7 trillion added to the general wealth of the Australian population, okay? Which is pretty amazing, all right? So, you guys are already feeling it. Like, part of what my conversation wanted to be today is that, and check out, I think this one's from January. I couldn't find a more recent one, but it's gone up a little bit. So the annual return, the 12-month return, pretty tidy for houses, for properties. I think that was actually everything together, including all dwellings, which include houses and apartments, folks. So that's not houses split out and apartments split out. That's the whole thing. So by and large, we're sitting here right now, if you have a property, you beauty, if you bought it for 600, now let's call it, let's just call it, I'm going to do this a bit dramatically, but let's call it 800. I have so many people who have got, that type of number over the last couple of years in their equity going on. Actually, I'm going to draw that a bit differently right now. So let's talk about what's happening here. All right, so we bought it for 600. Now over here, it's worth 800. So our equity's risen 200,000, which is fab. You're happy as a Larry or Laura or whatever. Anyway, so tell me in the chat right now. This was 20. Let's call this 2020, and maybe you owned it at 2020 or you bought it at 2020. We're going to do a timeline kind of here. What's going on for you right now? Tell me the interest rate. I want to hear it in the chat. Play along here. In 2020, what was the interest rate? You had your mortgage on. Let's say that mortgage there was kind of 500, okay? Let's say that mortgage is 500. Let's say this mortgage over here is still 500. Tell me the interest rate. Tell me the interest rate, folks, that you would have had in 2020 or thereabouts, 2020, okay? 2020. We're going to call this kind of 2022 now, okay, as we're going along. 1.9. Holy dooly. Right. So we had a 2% interest rate, folks. Okay. And this is what I'm talking about, okay, this morning. So we've got 2%. We got 2%, 2% interest. Fabulous. All right. We're like, woohoo. All right. Now tell me, 2022, you know, if you've locked it in and stuff like that, great. But just imagine today, now we've got this $500,000 worth of debt. Tell me what's going on with that debt right now. What's the interest rate now on average? On average. Just give me an average, and I'm going to put it out here as well. You know, let's do 2024. All right. Okay. Whack that in the chat for me right now. You know, what are we looking at? All right. I'm going to chuck it in here just to keep it moving, just depending on how quick you guys are. But let's call it 4%. Let's just call it 4%. Okay, yeah, 4.8. There we go. Now, out to 2024, let's do 5%. Okay? Let's do 5%. Let's just do that. Yeah, 6%. Bit dramatic, I think, but it might be between sort of 5 and 6% out at 2024, folks. That's kind of the number that most sensible people are making sense of. All right. So the point is, let's put this together. We've now gone this way, right? Our costs have gone up. We've got the same debt. We've got all this potential equity here, team. Like, it's like, come on, baby. Like, let's unlock a bit of this. I'm going to see if I can make that. All that potential equity there. Yep. Make it. We'll call it 5. All right, so what have we got here? We've got this potential equity, all right? Potential equity. Potential usable equity. Usable equity there, and call that, you know, 200K, let's say. We could maybe get at, okay? So the challenge right now for all of us is what's going on, right? Our interest rates have gone up, kind of in line with our property values. What has that done? Yeah, and sometimes the debt's being devalued by inflation. It's kind of like, this is kind of what I'm sort of saying, Luke, in an indirect way. Inflation is fueling interest rate rises because of one reason or another. So what's going on? What else over here? Let's say we had rent of $550 a week per week. Over here now, that rent for, let's call this Melbourne, because Melbourne, other places like Brisbane and a few other places their rents have started to increase to try and keep up with the interest rate rises. My call is give it 12, 18 months, 2 years. That'll flow through, team. Don't you worry about that. But let's say you've only been able to put your rent up $600, like $50, right, per week. So what's happened? Tell me what's happened. We've got inflation, so the costs have gone up. Your income hasn't gone up. What's happened to your servicing? You know, go over to Allison right now. What's happened? What has happened? So you are paper, all right? You are paper wealthy. You got paper equity, all right? You got paper wealth, but no liquidity. That means it needs to be a Q. Liquidity. Okay. Now, that's just a fancy word. Oh, that red's not great, is it? Hopefully you can read that red, all right? I'll change colours. That liquidity means you don't have access to this money, right? And that's why I'm calling it fool's gold. It's fool's gold, right? We're all sort of going, yay, I'm wealthy. But, you know, you can't do anything with it, right? Who is benefiting from that? Who is right now benefiting from your, and this is the other not complicated thing, loan-to-value ratio over here, loan-to-value ratio. So LVR, I'm going to put that up here, LVR. All right, so loan to value ratio here was, let's call it 90%. Okay, let's just call it 90%. Now, what's the loan to value ratio over here? 70%. Okay, 70%. Yeah, our friends, the banks, folks. All this is doing is making the banks wealthier. And why is it wealthier? Because how do the banks tell me, and this is probably a long thing, so I'll just ask it and I'll answer it myself. How do the banks benefit from your loan to value ratio going from 90% to 70%? I'll ask you. If they're lending money to you at 90%, what would be the cost of that money? So their cost of funds is lower. Cost of funds is lower. Their risk profile is lower. Their share price looks better. The bank, less risk. Boom. The banks make money, right? So we're all sitting here right now going, awesome, I've got equity. You beauty. Let's go. Right, give me a loan, banks. I want to buy another property. And they're like, nah, you can't afford it, mate. You can't afford it. Terrible accent. Anyway, you know what I'm saying, right? The banks are getting, like, mate, they win no matter which. Like, let's face it. And there's nothing we can do about this, folks. Like, there's nothing we can do about the banks making money. We just got to play their game. We got to play the game. You got to play the game, right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying right now. Don't muck around. Don't muck around. Because here's the drill. Let's have a look. Like, who's making money? In this circumstance, the only people making money is the bank. Not you. Not you. And then there's this false conversation going on like, oh, you're safer. You're safer. Well done. You've got less debt. You know, you should be happy. Well, thanks, mate, but I can't even buy a coffee. Thanks, mate, I've got $1 million worth of equity and I'd like to do something with it, thanks. And what's the only way? And this is why I'm saying that's a wealth trap. You know, can you unlock your equity in that position? The answer is no. You've got all this paper wealth and you can't unlock your equity. What's the only way you can unlock that equity and turn it into something liquid at this point when you get kind of snookered? Folks, tell me what that is. Tell me what it is. In the chat. In the chat. As we go. Because it's a pain in the bottom. Pain. It's a pain. I'm telling you right now. So, you get to that point where it's like, I can't get access to those dollars. I might have to sell it. Don't do that. Remember, this idea is buy well, never sell. Okay? How do you unlock this, team? How do you unlock this? Well, you buy another property. Okay? You buy some assets. You get into the lending and make sure you understand how to do it. Right now, servicing is a little bit all over the place. But I can tell you right now, you need to get in with your broker and your lender and your coach and work out. You know, if you think today's issue, if you think right now you can't unlock your equity, right, tell me this. If today you've got a certain, that's it, Sharon, buy more. Because if you think you've got a certain borrowing power today and you're going to wait 2 years, here's the drill. Ladies and gents, this idea of like, I'll wait to see what happens. You know what's going to happen? The interest rates are going to go from 4% today to 5% to 5.5%. In 1.5 years' time, tell me right now, how mathematically is sitting around and waiting for 1.5 years to buy something going to be better for your servicing? Can't hear you. Can't hear you. It's not. It's not. We know where the interest rates are going, folks. If you've got buying power, borrowing power right now, get on with it because it's going to disappear. There you go. All right? Or don't get on with it and make the banks wealthier than they've ever been before. There you go. And you get to sit on the sidelines for the next 3 to 5 years with all this pretend paper money until things catch up. There you go. Anyway, that's the facts of it, folks. That's the facts. If you're sitting around waiting and you've got capacity, you've got borrowing power, and you're like, oh, maybe the prices will go down. They might. But you know what? In 2 years' time, you won't be able to afford to buy nothing. And you know what? After a year or two, the prices will go back up and it won't matter. After 20 years, it won't bloody matter. But what will matter is after 5 years, you haven't been able to buy another property because you were out of the market, you couldn't afford it. That will matter. Anyway, there you go. I'm raving. I'm a bit of a rant today. Anyway, there you go. Nice. Alison has a plan. I love it, Alison. This is the thing, folks. You think, oh, I'm stuck. I'll just sit here and wait. No, you need to be hustling. You need to be talking with your coach. You need to be understanding your moves as an investor to unlock and keep moving forward. That is so important. Anyway, there you go. Hopefully that was useful as a wealth coffee chat this morning. I think we've gone over a little bit. Too much coffee. Yeah, too many short blacks this morning, mate. Just I got to dial them back a little. All right. Well, there you go, folks. I'm done and dusted. Wealth Coffee Chat over and out. Remember, buy well, never sell. This is the idea. This thing's a marathon, not a sprint. Get the deals done. Get your properties in your portfolio as fast as possible. Nice, Sharon. Yes. All right, team. That's it. I'm going to go. I'll leave you to it. Thanks for joining me. Come tomorrow for another Wealth Coffee Chat. Till then, you guys take care. Bye for now. Adios, team.